Hello, my name is Crimpwheel, and welcome back to the Wheelhouse. It is summer, everyone! Finally, we have all survived the horrible, horrible school. And I have finished my first year of college, which is quite an insane venture. It has been a very interesting time and a very different from how high school was for me. But in today's episode, we are gonna be mostly specifically talking about this film I made for my college class, and my college film production class specifically. And I'm gonna talk about my experience of that, but also because I don't believe everyone would care about that. I'm also gonna be comparing it to how a Minecraft production works with it, because obviously, as I think everyone knows, there are some major differences between making a movie in Minecraft and making a movie in real life, but there's also some similarities. So, it is going to be a fun episode. To kind of give you some context on what my film is about, is basically the plot is that there is a bartender and she's working at a bar. And she's, like, clearly an artist. Like, she's drawing on napkins and such. And suddenly, a bottle comes to life and is, like, amazed by these drawings. And encourages her to, like, quit her job so she can pursue her dream, like, job. Like, something to do with art. And obviously, the bartender's resistance because it's a stable job. And it pays and yada yada. So the bottle gets more extreme and wants to, like, blow up the place and yada yada yada. The bottle ends up dying and the girl ends up pursuing her job. So a very, like, it's a very comedic film because the bottle is very goofy. But fun fact, both the bartender was actually acted out by Digital Potatoes, who's also Digit in The New Bloom. And the bottle was voiced by Tico or Axis from The New Bloom. So we got the same pair, but I guess they just work well together in my brain. But they just both fit the role, like, individually. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I guess, like, they'll work well together too. So that was, like, the idea, and that actually wasn't the initial idea going into it. So my film production class, we were given the assignment that we had to create a 3-2-1. Which is 3 pages, 2 characters, 1 location. And basically how this process started is we each had to, like, put in, like, a tagline or, like, a pitch. And whatever, like, which one would be picked would actually be fleshed out into a script. And obviously I want to, like, for those who don't know, I do want to be a director. And being able to write your own thing kind of gives you, like, the way in to direct your own film in film school. So I wrote a tagline, and I initially came up with the idea with Christopher about this, like, bartender, like, talking to this person, and there'd be something there where, like, the bartender, like, it was kind of like my original idea was this chick. It was like, hey, you know, a character goes to a bar and they're, like, really down depressed, and the bartender tells them something that changes their life, and that encourages them to go do something. I wouldn't do that idea, but it's on its head, where it seemed like it would go that way in the beginning, but it actually ends up being the person at the bar inspiring the bartender to go do something. And our big twist at the end is, oh, that person was real. It was actually just a bottle. And our tagline was taken very differently. That is not how our professor took it. He took it as, oh, I imagine a funny talking bottle that it's, like, moving around and stuff. And Christopher and I are like, oh, not exactly. And we explained our idea, but he's like, no, just go with my idea. I'm like, okay. So we got approved, and I ended up writing the script. So when it comes to script writing, like, in terms of, like, also, like, working on The New Bloom, it basically transfers over pretty easily. Because I wrote The New Bloom in screenplay format, so, like, the normal way all movies and shows are written in is how I wrote The New Bloom. So I already had those skills with me, so that was quite an easy part of the process. What was hard was actually keeping it 3 pages, because obviously with the new Bloom, I don't really have a restriction on how long the episodes have to be. Like if an episode's long, like that's cool as long as it's entertaining, or if it's short, like that's fine as long as that it's a fulfilling episode. So with this one, I was stuck to 3 pages, and at the end I was able to get there. So that part was fine. And also, before I continue, if you do want to see this film, I am currently like putting it in festivals right now, which is another whole like just crazy thing that I'll explain later. But I can't upload it online yet until I figure that stuff out. So I will keep you guys updated on that. But so we got the script completed. Now is actually like, this is where things are a little different. And for the new Bloom, which is actually like kind of similar to the process we're going through now, firstly, we got to worry about building sets, aka just building in the video game. We got to get voice lines, so because I use voice lines for when the shooting happens, so I already have all the voice lines prepared, so like we can sync, and that's all good. And we also have to make sure, like, okay, any like mods, like anything, any effects that we're doing in the game, we need to figure out a mod that use it, and we need to make sure it's compatible with all the other mods that's being used. So that is currently genuinely what, as of recording this, that is what I'm doing, or that's what I did yesterday, was just messing with mods and figuring out what to do, like how it all works together, like what version of the game are we filming season 2 in, and such and such. So that's the whole process. In real life, it's different. Once we had the script, we had to put something together called a production binder. And basically what this is a collection of like all the stuff you need for shooting. So it's like an annotated script. It is like a list of all the props that are required. It is storyboards. Storyboards is a big thing. I storyboarded my whole entire short film. For the new Bloom, we like, for season 1, I don't like, there might have been a few things here and there that might have been storyboarded, but it basically wasn't storyboarded at all. And here's actually a funny story with working on the storyboard. For my film, that is roughly 3 minutes, I had about 60 shots that I was planning to do on the storyboard. And like for the average Joe, that might sound like, I don't know, it might sound like a little bit a lot, but like I like overshooting. And for me, like for the new Bloom, like I'm not worrying about like getting specific shots. I'm worrying about getting specific scenes. So once I get a scene, I can go in that scene and I can get literally as many shots as I would like without wasting anyone's time besides my own with getting those shots. Because for this shoot, we had 10 hours to do it. So, and it's one day, 10-hour shoot. It had to be that. It could not exceed 10 hours. And it could not exceed 1 day. So I had 60 shots. I was given a harsh reality check, and I had to cut that down in half to about 30-ish shots, which is crazy. I mean, I was able to do it, and the film looks good with 30 shots, but it is like something you don't really think about when you're filming Minecraft. It's like you don't have to worry about like, oh, I need this many shots, and you don't even need to worry about storyboard because you can put the camera anywhere, and you can change the time of day and the weather and all of that fun stuff. Like you can literally change everything in post. You just gotta get that scene recorded and like at least think like, okay, is there at least room to put the camera somewhere? Like obviously you go into it kind of thinking where the camera might go, but also you can kind of just figure it out yourself, and there's overall just less planning that needs to go in that part of it. For a live action film, yeah, you need to know what shots you need to get. You need to make sure everything has good coverage. So that's something I had to really worry about, and that goes hand in hand also with the shot list that had to be in there. We also had to get a location agreement. So another thing, for those who don't know, at least in the state of California, you cannot have a full production like on non-private you can't on public property. You cannot do it. You need to film on private property and have permission to shoot there. If you don't do that, you have to get permits, you have to get permission from other things, there's a lot of process with just figuring out a location. So, if you're ever like looking at like a student film, a lot of them are probably shot inside like a house or something like that because it's cheap. Like, it's free to shoot in a house for the most part, unless you're renting out another house. Like we can't even shoot in a park. So the big thing about college and in high school, they just didn't care. You just went out and shoot whatever, because like for the most part you're just shooting on like small cameras. Like I shot one of my if for I believe it was Rewind 2024, where I had like the painted suit that was like originally for a school project, and all that was just shot on an iPhone. There was no other equipment. Like yes, there was also a gimbal connection to the iPhone, but it was like one thing. Like we weren't recording audio or anything like that. So it was really simple. So that's a big thing. Obviously, Minecraft, you don't really need to worry about that. You can also just build like whatever set you would ever need. So there is more like restrictions with that. Thankfully, I had someone in my crew who just had a bar in their backyard, and that's kind of why we wanted to go with the story, just because this is such a unique story, and this is such a unique opportunity to do this story, because it's not, you know, easy to like get access to a bar if you don't have someone, you know, who has a bar in the backyard, which most people just don't. So that all worked out really well. So basically this binder had all this type of stuff in it. And that was something cool. For in terms of the bottle, that was something else we had to prep before we started shooting. So the bottle was actually a puppet we made, and it had like the pipe cleaner's arm. It had like pipe cleaner arms that was like wrapped around the bottle's neck. It had like paper drawn eyes. We had many variations of that. So that's something else we had to plan. We also had to get like fishing wire to like move it around, and like sticks to move its arms. So it was a really like interesting thing to do, because again, in Minecraft you can't like, I mean you can't really like puppet stuff. Like you got Minecraft characters, and you can use a morph mod to be an animal. Technically you can make models, and there's stuff that you can do there. So there's maybe a little bit of like overlap that's something similar, but that was like a big technical challenge that I had to worry about this film, because I don't make puppets, and I don't like. It was cool to make something physical that was there, and just it was just practical. Like my film basically, it had a very minimal like quote unquote CGI or like post production that were altering the image. I had to do some things for like hiding hands and strings and stuff like that, but it very, very like cool. Like a lot of it was like in camera stuff, so that was really fun. So we get the production binder together, and like we're kind of like good to go. Another thing we had to worry about was actual equipment. For this film, we actually got to use a cinema camera. It was a Red body. Like the camera company Red makes cameras. For those who don't know cameras, trust me, I don't really know cameras either. Like I know to an extent, but we gotta use a cinema camera, so that was cool. But there's also like that technical aspect of like you have to know cameras, lighting. Like this was a 8-person crew for this set, minus the actors. Well, in Minecraft, technically you could do it by yourself. For filming the New Bloom, I had people on there for like acting. Once in a while I have to get like Spyro or me or someone else to like push buttons on command blocks. So technically those are crew members, technically. But when you're shooting, it's mainly just worrying about the acting. When you're doing it in real life, you gotta worry about all these other aspects. Which is obviously like, while they're like, it's cool to be able to work with everyone, but also it causes issues, and there's definitely technical problems on sets just because like we're still students, we're still pretty new to this equipment, and stuff just happens, and there's some issues we had to like figure out in post. Like the audio for some things we had to really work on, or the camera had a lot of troubles while shooting. Minecraft, not really an issue. So that was all a big thing. So once we got all of that, we like understand the equipment, all of that, it was filming day. Fun thing about my shoot is we did an all-nighter, because it was supposed to take place at night, and it was 10 hours, and we can't like have like 5 hours when there's sunlight and 5 hours when there's not. It's just not how it works. Again, Minecraft changes time of day. This isn't a factor. In real life, yeah, like if you're shooting outside especially, you have to think about your time of day, and you are on a time crunch no matter what because of that. So basically, shooting in real life is a lot more stressful just because of a lot of these factors. But we got there, and like obviously we figured it out, and I got my Monster Energy. Literally the first time I've ever drinking an energy drink, or at least really like, I probably sipped some in the past, but to have like a full energy drink, and I got like a big can. I didn't drink all of it in one sitting. Don't worry, I won't die, and I'm not addicted, thankfully. just to help me keep me awake. But the shooting, like, again, it like went for the most part smooth. It's technically like the first time I have really directed something, like in real life, like a true director. It's the first time I've had a true directing position, because in Minecraft, what directing looks like is directing is very much happens during the voice acting. So I'm like, I try to make sure I'm there for like basically all the voice acting, if not Spyro is there for the voice acting because we are co-directors. And it's basically like just directing the performance in the voice, because in Minecraft, you don't have faces. You have some movement. You can have some head movement, some jumping, running, yada yada, but it's minimal. And that's like some slight like acting, like, and I teach like the actors that we actually like use, like, because we have the player actors and we have the voice actors. Most of the time, the player actors are separate from the voice actors. Because we do the voice actors, like I said beforehand. So then the player actors are like completely separate. The player actors are acting with the voice. In real life, that's all smushed together, and you have like, okay, your voice has to sound like this. You have to move like this. Staging is such a big important thing now, because a person can, their facial expressions can look like anything. Obviously, their arms could be something like this. They could actually be interacting with stuff a lot more. So that was like a big difference for me, because even for like other live action stuff I've done, like, for example, like, technically, like, I have made other short films that I've technically directed, but I've also, like, acted in. Like, I've always been, like, the main actor in. So I've always, like, directed myself, basically. So that was very different. And in Rewind, it's also, like, a similar situation with that. But we also, like, don't really have dialogue in Rewinds. So just a very, like, this was really, like, my first time really directing, and not having to worry about acting like myself at all, which was a very like crazy experience. But it was fun. I generally had like such a great time doing it, and like I think I'll always want to be a director. In terms of how to get in directing, I'll get to that in a minute. But, like, I think I do very just fit into it. Because I think I am, like, genuinely good at, like... I'm, like, decent at, like, all the roles. In, like, traditional roles in a film set. Like, I can technically do camera... Like, I do all the camera work for the New Bloom. That was all me. I think, yeah, that was all me. So, you know, I'm used to camera angles. And I think that's something that Minecraft really helps you learn and pick up. It's just, like... You can just, when you can put a camera anywhere, you can really, like, learn it and, like learn camera angles and, like, get used to, like, doing stuff. And that does, like, to an extent translate to real life. The one big thing you have to worry about is, like, oh, yeah, you need a tripod, to, like, put the camera on. Or you might need to do handheld. And there's, like, other considerations. Lighting is also such a big consideration of film set. In Minecraft, yes, it is, but also, like, it doesn't feel like as much, because faces are flat, so either, like, your whole Minecraft face is lit or not lit. And the lighting intensities can be different in Minecraft, it's just hard to change that. So Minecraft, there's not as much control. There's control with the lighting in the environment, but not your subject as much. For my shoot, we had to worry about lighting an environment that was supposed to be technically kind of dark, so we're shooting for it to be like night, so we don't want to blast light and like light everything out, and we want to light the main, like, both the puppet and the main actress in a way that, like, it actually looks good. So that is just another, like, consideration when you're on set. And also, again, shooting 10 hours, another consideration. Filming in Minecraft, a lot easier, because again, you're shooting the one scene. Like, my scene is 3 minutes long. Like, we could shoot that, like, we could probably get that done in Minecraft in an hour. Like, get it shot within an hour. But I'd have to still go and post and, like, get a camera's angles. But not other people need to be there. It could just be me, and that's the nice part. But, anyways, shooting went well. Actually, no, it didn't go well. There was one thing that happened. We were shooting outside at night. The weather was supposed to be clear. It ended up raining. Now, in Minecraft, when it rains in my silly little Minecraft game, it doesn't like I probably choose for it to rain, or I can toggle it off if I need to toggle the rain off. And in real life, no, it kind of just fucks everything up, and you get off schedule and you have to cut shots, and it's a mess. It was a little hard to deal with. We had to end up like putting boards over the camera to make sure like they were okay, and like all the lighting equipment. And there's a point where we actually had to go inside and just like wait it out for a little bit, which just sucks. It was just stressful because like shit, like I mean we're gonna have to start cutting shots and just hope for the best. So I probably got under 30 shots for this film, which is insane, but it worked out. So, and also the puppetry for this whole thing just added more headache for like, it was crazy. Big props to my production designer for and doing all this stuff. Like, this is like definitely like such a teamwork thing where like you cannot like do something like this like by yourself. Like in real life, like technically, yeah, maybe there are some things, but it just wouldn't nearly be as good and it would take so much longer. But yeah, the shoot I think fully ended up going good, and we had all the footage. We got all the footage we needed in 10 hours, and we can immediately start editing. Unlike Minecraft, where yes, you can shoot for 10 hours if you really want to. That's crazy. Our shooting for the New Bloom never lasts 10 hours. It'd be like, if anything, like 6 hours max. I mean, even that's kind of high. Maybe probably closer to like average to 2 to 3 hours with like breaks. So very, very different shooting style. Because also, while we're shooting for the New Bloom, I'm also kind of editing it as well and arranging all the footage to make sure what we're getting is good. Technically, like on a movie or a TV show, that would still be happening. That would actually be happening. Like you'd be able to see all the footage at the end of the day. That'd be called a daily. We didn't do that for our shoot just because we knew we couldn't reshoot, and like what we got is what we got, and we had to work with that. So that wasn't necessarily a consideration. But the editing for the project, we got like our first cut of it like probably a day or two afterwards, and the editing it for was relatively like, it was difficult because of like audio things and yada yada. But obviously editing is somewhat similar to Minecraft. The one big thing is that we shot in log, which is like raw footage. So we actually had to color grade all of it. For the New Bloom, for the most part, I generally stayed away from color grading. There's a few shots that I maybe did a little touch-ups, but shaders does a lot of work for already adding to the style, and you don't really need to change it anymore. Because again, it's a video game. It's supposed to already look pretty good. Real life, it's a little different. Obviously, in Minecraft, you need like stylized footage. Then like, yeah, you're doing more, but most of that you're doing it within the shaders. You're adjusting the shaders to get the look you want. You're not really doing that in post. So there's just a lot less factors when it comes to that. But it was crazy. So we got it completed, and we ended up showing it to like we had like a small showing at my college of like all the films, and it was fun. It was crazy. I definitely got some laughs out of my film, and that's something I'm very happy about. And it is such a different experience to like show your film in front of people rather than just putting it on YouTube, because like when I was like releasing the New Bloom, like season 1, in the midst of that, like I wasn't getting that like immediate feedback from people, but I was still like really excited, I think. And I still like, oh my god, like this is so cool. It's out. Like being able to do premieres on YouTube and have people be at those premieres is such like a big thing. Like that is like that moment, that small amount of moment is what makes like everything like worth it, and gives you just that gratification. Like, yes, like people are watching this, I'm getting live comments and people are thinking this is cool. Like that is awesome. Because obviously the New Bloom took like about a year to make, and my 3-minute short film took about a month to make, which again, my short film's only 3 minutes long, which is like, that just tells you how much work needs to go in for a 3-minute live action thing. Like that's insane. It could have maybe taken less just because our professor was like kind of like giving us a lot of time, but it was still like crazy. Like, 'cause it was still decently being worked on. But no, seeing like premieres on YouTube like that, like we kind of talked about it in like my in my film class about like, yes, you can release something on YouTube, but you kind of lose like the audience reaction and stuff. And in some cases that is true, because once that premiere is over, that's kind of it. Obviously your friends can talk to you about it, but you also like something that's happened with the New Bloom that will definitely not be happening with my short film, and I'm not expecting it to, is like you get like, I got fan art for the New Bloom, and all the fan art is just awesome. It is genuinely just amazing to just see all that, and that is like, it's cool to see people care enough and like something so much that they want to create more art from it. Like that speaks so much to like how well how people liked the New Bloom. In real life, for my showing, obviously I got some laughs. I got a few people to talk to me about it, but after like the showing is done, that's kind of it. I'm going to show it to film festivals, and maybe I'll get a different experience from that. And obviously, like if you put a movie in theaters, that's also very different. Because at a certain scale, like if you keep like scaling up, you get a bigger audience. Like yeah, more stuff will happen in real life, but also if you scale it up online, more stuff will happen online. But I really like I do and I don't like seeing people watch my stuff, because I get really like shy, and like I start cringing at my own stuff when like someone's watching it. I'm like, bro, I just want to walk away, but also I just want to see what they think. So it's very different. Because obviously the New Bloom, I think in general feels like a bigger thing to me than this short film, but this short film was also just something so different. And it just like, it definitely fulfilled me in a different way than YouTube could have. But YouTube fulfills something else that real life could not have. So I am like now in this like weird limbo. I'm like, okay, I'm creating cool stuff online and I'm creating cool stuff in real life. And I think I want to like continue to find a balance with doing both those things, because I think I do really like doing both, not one over the other. Because I think I was really, because I knew I wanted to do this Wheelhouse podcast episode for a while. And I was definitely thinking about like the balance of those two things. Like, is there like, am I saying I want to do real life stuff more than YouTube, or am I saying I want to do YouTube more than real life? And I wouldn't mean like YouTube, I mean like posting online, or like specifically posting Minecraft content. It's basically making Minecraft movies versus making real life movies. And I think like I need both at the moment, and I think that's fine that there isn't like one way or the other, because I think Minecraft is teaching me a lot of things that can apply to real life. And my real life film, like this film I just made, there's a lot of like things that I've really learned from both the film and just being in film school that I can now go and apply to Minecraft. And they're kind of like, I'm kind of like building both things up at once. Like they're helping each other to do better for each one. And I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, in terms of like fulfillment, like both fulfill me in different ways, and both are important to kind of have for me right now. So about my film going into film festivals and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to put in film festivals, just cause I'm not putting it in many. I've like applied to 3, and I'll honestly get lucky if I even get into 1. And I'm not really doing it to like, oh yes, I want to get my films out there and yada yada yada. I'm just kind of doing it just to have an experience of showing one of my films at a film festival, because I think that's cool. Like, if I had a chance, I would 1000% like find somewhere to do a showing of like the New Bloom. Like, I would 1000% want to rent out like a theater and just watch the New Bloom on a big screen. I feel like that'd be so cool. And obviously, like, have other people there watching too. Like, I wouldn't want to do that by myself. But I definitely like want to do something like that one day, just because like that's so cool. Like that's so awesome. So it's just for like the fun of it. In terms of like where I'm going with my film school and where all that's going, it's definitely gotten me like thinking, because obviously we talk a lot about like film school tries to get you ready to go into Hollywood. That is like the main thing that film school is about. Like, yes, we'll talk about other small things here and there, but the main thing is like, okay, you want to go into Hollywood, you want to work on a Hollywood film. Now, as we've established, I want to be a director. And that's kind of hard to go into Hollywood and just become a director. Like that just it's like that's hard because my teacher talked about a lot of like if you want to work in art department's one of the biggest things on a Hollywood set. So it is very easy to just get into an art department thing for a film set. And that's like how he described a lot of like prior film students end up doing that and being successful. Or the other option is being like grip and electric, which is working with lights. That also needs a lot of people on hand, and that's something that's still easy to get into. Everything else is kind of a lot more difficult, especially directing. Directing is the hardest of all of them. Maybe producing too. I'm not entirely sure. Actually, I think producing might be a little bit easier. I think directing is relatively the hardest job to get into, and I don't really know like how that works. And also, I don't really know if I want to be a Hollywood director. At least like not anytime soon. I think one day I would very much like to be able to direct a feature film that's able to go to theaters. Like I think like that'd be cool to do like once in my life, but to make it my full-time job, I'm not sure of. Because again, I'm kind of like going to film school just to kind of for one, just like learn some skills and just like figuring it all out. Because I know I want to do like something with all these skills, and ideally that's YouTube. But here's the second side of the conversation with YouTube. I love creating Minecraft movies, creating Minecraft cinematics. I think that is very much the staple of what I'm doing on YouTube, and that's kind of like my thing at the moment. The reason I say that is because I can't necessarily do this forever. Like 5 years down the road, am I still gonna be making Minecraft movies? I honestly don't know. As a hobby, maybe. Yeah, maybe I could still see myself doing it. But as a job, I do not know. Because the New Bloom, I kind of like our plan for it is like it'll probably wrap up by the time I'm out of college. Like just because of the amount of seasons we have, like it would roughly take that amount of time that I'll be out of college once the final season of the New Bloom is out. As long as like everything goes well and yada yada yada. I don't know what the next step would be because we are very much pushing the bounds of like Minecraft filmmaking and like what that looks like. But there is only so many stories you can tell in Minecraft, and there's a lot more you can tell in real life, and there's a lot of stuff you can do in real life, and overall there's more options with real life filmmaking. But I'm not in a position where I want to be doing that right now, like full time, because I like the New Bloom, and the New Bloom is something you can't do in real life. Like we are telling a story that is specific to Minecraft. You cannot make a live action movie adaptation. So I'm in a very interesting situation right now. Long story short, nothing's changing. Nothing's changing anytime soon, most likely. The New Bloom's still being worked on. That's still my main focus. But it is something I'm now like thinking of in the back of my head of like what are some things we can do or that I can do on YouTube to kind of be more diverse. Because I don't think this thing is like, okay, let's do other things in Minecraft. It's like, no, what can we do outside of Minecraft? And we'll kind of see where things take me and where the wind blows. But it is something I am worried for, but I'm not like too scared of at the moment. But it is something I'm definitely thinking about more that I go into film school, because I think at the end of the day, like I want to create something big, and like I want to be able to work on big projects that a lot of people can see, and that people enjoy, and also that I can like live off of, and it's not just a hobby. Like I want it to be more than a hobby. I think it's so crazy to me that at the end of like our film class, we had some of the professors like give us speeches, and like part of like one of their speeches was like, if you can find something outside of film that you enjoy and that pays, do that instead. Like if you don't have to do films, if you don't have a need to do films and you can like live without doing films, then don't do films. And that is such an interesting like thought, and that's just kind of, and the reason they say that is just because the industry is hard. It is a it is a very competitive industry, and it's one that's hard to get into, and it will wear you down so much and stress you out. And a lot of like my film class was to kind of prepare us for that and really stress us out. And it's kind of why for like the last month of my semester, I had to take off from working on the new Bloom because I didn't have time. And that's another factor, is how much time I have to work on stuff. Thankfully, it's summer, and spoiler alert, I broke my ankle again. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I broke my ankle again, so I can't get a job, so I can work on the new Bloom all summer. Yippee. But it's definitely something to think about, because I've definitely, like, since getting to college, a lot of parts of my life have kind of changed and are different now, and I've definitely, like, just not been at my computer as much. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm doing like more fun stuff in real life, and I'm trying new things in real life, but it is definitely like, as in the question, like, okay, what is important? What does my future look like now? And what is being changed? I'm still very much at heart, like, I would love to be a YouTuber, and I'd love to do this, and I just want to make sure I'm able to do something big with this. Because I think some people, like, obviously, if you haven't seen the movies that are coming out recently, Obsession, one of like the biggest movies probably of this year, made by a YouTuber. Iron Lung, obviously made by a YouTuber. The Backrooms, which is coming out in a few days from filming this. Actually, I think it's out today from when I'm filming. It's out tonight. I can go see it in theaters tonight. I'm not, unfortunately, but I can. Made by a YouTuber. And that kind of just tells you that, like, there is something in YouTube that, like, is worth sticking around for. You just have to make sure, like, what you're making is cool. And that can get you a lot of opportunities outside of YouTube. And while still, like, being able to kind of, like, do YouTube. So, what I'm trying to say is, like, I love YouTube. And I don't want to leave YouTube right now. And I don't ever want to leave YouTube just because of the opportunities that are still continuing to show itself from this platform. But doing films in Hollywood is also, like, it's slightly intriguing to me, but it's also just not, like, I'm not interested in climbing the ladder in Hollywood and trying to figure that out. I want to try to, like, do my own things, tell my own stories in my own ways. And that's kind of just something I'm figuring out, like, how to do in a way that I can live off of. So I'm trying not to end this episode in a dramatic way, but overall, it has been a fun film to work on. And I am actually going to my high school now, and I met with my high school teacher, and I'm going to be showing it to the people I knew at my high school. And that's kind of cool that I'm able to share that film. I like being able to make something that I'm able to show someone. Because YouTube is not something I say, like, yes, I make Minecraft movies. I can't necessarily flaunt that because not everyone understands that. But everyone understands, like, what just a live action movie is. Like, they're able to comprehend that, if that makes sense. So, I don't know what's going to happen. If you guys have any thoughts, obviously leave them down in the comments. But I will, for those YouTube listeners, for those watching the Wheelhouse on YouTube, I do bi-monthly streams on the Wheelhouse where I kind of just update on, like, what's going on and answer questions. I'll be having one early June, so like in a week or two. And if you want to get on there and you want to ask more questions about this, I can talk about this more on live stream. And I'm very, like, because I think this is all so interesting to me, and it's so interesting, like, what paths I could be taking. And I definitely just obviously want to, like, put my time towards the right one, because, like, do I try put as much time towards YouTube and the New Bloom as possible, or do I try doing something else? No matter what, I'm gonna be creating something for all of you to watch. It's just more so, like, where am I putting my apples, and how many baskets am I putting them in? So that's something we're all figuring out. But anyways, I want to thank you if you've listened this far. It really shows that you care, and I'm very appreciative. The Wheelhouse has been a place where I'm able to kind of just rant and dump all my thoughts in. And this is basically like my journal. So welcome to the Crimpy Wheel Journal. Hopefully this would be like cool one day, like people like want, if I get big and stuff, people look back on like, wow, that was his mindset at the time. That's what he's thinking. And like, even for me, like that'd be cool to look back on. So, I don't know. It's a very confusing part of my life right now, and there's a lot of conflicting things going on in my head. But I'm creating cool stuff and I'm having fun, so I'm not trying to worry about it right now. I'm just kind of just going where the wind takes me. I'm just a small wheel in a big world, just going wherever I can. But it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do fun stuff. All right, thank you for listening to this episode. What do you guys want to hear more of on the wheels besides me ranting? Obviously, I need to bring more people on. I've talked to Digital Potatoes, or AKA Paige, on getting them on the podcast and talk about something we just don't know what. Honestly, we don't have an exact topic to talk about yet. So I don't know if you want to see other specific people on. Obviously, I can have some more episodes specifically regarding the New Bloom. If you want specific cast members on and talk about like what the New Bloom, like how they feel about it and their thoughts on it all, maybe I could do that. I'll have a lot more time this summer to do a lot of things. Like I said, I broke my ankle. I'll be talking about that on stream very, very soon. But yeah, so keep me updated. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.